listening to Fresh Take.
You're listening to the Fresh Take Network.
You are listening to the Fresh Take Network.
What it is, what it do? Welcome to 7K Picks. Joshua, Adam, William, Arbuthnot. How is everybody doing? We are in week 4 of the NFL season. I know, it's crazy. We are already in week 4. Everyone here at 7K Picks is excited to get going here. Not so excited with some of our teams. I know me, Senator, and Coach right now feel a little bit blue about where our squads are right now. Nick obviously is on a high with his Colts being undefeated right now, led by Indiana Jones. But we'll see if there's a bounce back for some of our teams this week. Obviously, it was a busy week for all of us, and that's kind of been the ongoing thing here. It's been a busy week to get us all on a pod together. I think we're getting pretty close to it. My schedule's about to open up a little bit more, so hopefully myself and Coach can join everybody soon here. But you're not here to hear about any of that. So it's going to be a very short podcast, but a solo one. And we're going to kind of get to some of the picks of the week here and some of the thoughts. So I will say really quickly, this is happening after Seattle and the Arizona game. Arizona made a big comeback there at the end. You got a feel for Marvin Harrison. Obviously, that was an emotional touchdown for him. I'm really happy for him to see that. And that kind of just shows that, you got to stop trashing these guys, man. That was an emotional touchdown for him, and I'm really glad that Marvin was able to get that big touchdown. But let's go and look at the rest of the week. We start off with Steelers and Vikings. In this one, Nick is going to pick the Steelers. Coach has the Vikings, and Senator has the Steelers in this one. I'm going to go with the Vikings myself. They had that big defensive weekend. I had 30 points dropped on me in fantasy, and I need everyone to answer out there if that's acceptable. Can you have 30 points dropped in fantasy on you? Like, is it worth having defenses if they're going to drop 30 points? And I have all the stats as the commissioner of that league. All the stats pretty normal, but 30 points from a defense is crazy. And look, just yesterday, the Seattle defense got me 16 points. So I don't know if we got to regulate some of these defensive rules for individual defenses right now. I'm not 100% sold on what they can do. But in this one, Coach and I are going to be going with the Vikings in this one. Falcons and Commanders. That one, I am going to go with Nick and Coach. Although, I don't know now. I kind of want to change to, I'm going to go with Sen, and I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one. Just because now it looks like Jaden's not going to play. Scary Terry's not going to play. Falcons need a bounce back win here. So I am going to go with the Falcons and go with Senator. I know Nick was debating about switching on this one as well. So we'll give him a half point because he was a little hesitant here with the injuries that had happened today as we record. So that's an interesting game for both those teams. Commanders obviously had that big win against Vegas last week, and the Falcons a tough loss to Carolina, hoping to have a bounce back. There's some questions now if Penix should be the starting quarterback or not, if they should call and bring Kirk Cousins back, and the questions with Kirk having the injury and how that's a 2-year injury. What could we see there for Kirk? I still believe in Penix. See what he can do. Bills and Saints, we're all going to go with the Bills in this one. Although I will say with the Saints, they did get blown out by Seattle. But up until then, the Saints team has been pretty good at hanging around. So unfortunately, a tough loss for them there. Browns and Lions, that's going to be another clean sweep for us all with the Lions. What a game on Monday Night Football by Detroit. Ben Johnson, who? They had that tough first game against the Packers, and then they bounced back. But hey, this Browns team, they got the upset against the Packers last week. Can they pull another upset here and then start to kind of ignite a flame and some recognition around the NFL? If they can beat the Packers and then the Lions, the Browns are going to be taken very, very seriously. Titans and Texans. This is a huge game for the Texans. We all picked the Texans in this one. Texans need to win this football game. They are trailing the Colts in the division. C.J. Stroud has not looked great. Titans, though, chanting to fire their coach. Nick was at the game. He heard all the chants and everything like that. So this is a big game for Houston. They need desperately to win this game. Then we have the Patriots and the Panthers. Nick, Coach, and Senator all going with the Patriots. I'm going with the Panthers. Let's go. They had a nice win last week. I'm not sure about this Patriots team. I liked what I saw from the Panthers in the comeback against Arizona, except for that last 3 minutes or so. That was a mess. But I do believe in this Panthers team. I am picking the Panthers. Chargers and Giants. We will go with a clean sweep here of the Chargers. But this is going to be the first game for Jackson Dart. I love this Giants defense. If there was another upset here this week that people could be monitoring, it is this Giants team. I thought that Giants team should have beat the Cowboys. They should have beat the Chiefs. The defense is great. The offense is great. It looks like Skebedo is starting to kind of take over the RB1 spot, and now we get to see what Dart can do. So, and now there's also the questions on Russell Wilson's legacy. Richard Sherman kind of had the clap back at him yesterday, saying he only had the defense that carried him. Tony Gonzalez said he's played himself out of the Hall of Fame. So what does that mean for Russ's future in New York? There's some Bengals rumors going on there. As for the Chargers, they look like one of the best teams in football. I've been very low on these pods in the past on Justin Herbert, and I couldn't have been more wrong. He looks like an MVP candidate right now. Absolutely love what I am seeing from Justin Herbert. We have the Eagles and the Bucks. This is going to be a fantastic football game. Sen and Coach are going to both go with the Eagles, but Nick and myself are going to go with the Bucks. Obviously, people know I had Baker Mayfield stock. I just love everything this Bucks team is doing. Eagles had a close one last week, barely pulled it out. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming away with this win, and Tampa had the big win against Houston. They've been able to come back and win games, and doesn't matter who's injured on this team. This is a really good Buccaneers team. Colts and Rams. Again, Nicholas and I are on the same page. We're both picking the Colts. Sen and Coach both going with the Rams. This is going to be the test game for the Indianapolis Colts and for Daniel Jones. They've had a little bit of easier games beforehand, but this is going to be the big one to see if Danny Dimes is the real deal. I do believe that he is. I like this Rams team, and Puka Nacua has been an absolute stud so far this year. He's getting himself in the top tier of receivers in the entire league, but I think overall I'm liking this Colts team a lot more. Jonathan Taylor is running the ball fantastically, and this is, where early MVP stuff is happening. This is going to be if Daniel Jones can win this game and he can go 4-0 and beat this Rams team, this is when some of the MVP chatter is going to really start pushing a little bit more towards Daniel Jones. I'd say right now MVP is probably Justin Herbert, and again, we're 4 weeks in, so let's not get carried away, but this is a big game right here. Jags and 49ers, again, Nicholas and myself agree. Coach and Sen both picking the Niners. I'm going with the Jaguars with Nick in this one. This Niners team, 3-0, but the injuries I think are just starting to mount up more and more and more. I think this Jaguars team is starting to figure things out, but they got to figure out BTJ. I don't know what's going on with him. If he doesn't have a big game here, then I would hit the panic meter if you are a fantasy owner, which I am a fantasy owner of BTJ. I don't know what is going on with him right now, but San Francisco I didn't think should won the Saints game. They barely pulled that one off. They barely pulled off the game this week with a field goal. Seattle game, they got lucky from a dumb play by Sam Darnold. I think it's a 3-0, but I think it's a lucky 3-0 by San Francisco. I'm going to pick Jacksonville in this one. Ravens and Kansas City. We're going to go with the clean sweep on this one. We're all going to pick the Ravens. It does look like Worthy will be back in this game, so that's huge for Mahomes. This is another big game this week for Kansas City. The regression is real. I don't know what happened to the running game. It's big for the Ravens, too. Just the Ravens are 1-2. I don't think anyone expected that. Big losses to the Bills and big losses to the Lions. They need to prove they can beat one of the top teams in the NFL. Whether that is the Chiefs right now or not, we don't know. But also for them exercising some demons and able to beat a Kansas City team they've had trouble with in playoffs and beyond. And you go back to the likely game last year as well when just having that foot outside. So Ravens are going to want this. It is an Arrowhead. It's a big game on both sides because one of these two teams is going to be 1-3. And I think both of them are still going to probably make the playoffs, but it's a big, big game. Bears and Raiders. My Raiders. Man, it has been a bumpy ride. Bears had a big win last week against the Cowboys. Caleb Williams looking like the first overall pick. I'm going to side with Sen on coach in this one. They both picked the Raiders. I think it's a bounce-back game for Vegas in this one. They had a full week of rest. I'm expecting Ashton Genty to get going here. They have a big game next week against the Colts. If they don't win this game, I think the panic meter is going to be all-time for Vegas. They looked so good in that New England game, and they looked at moments okay in the Chargers game, but the O-line not helping them. Geno had a bad game, and the Commanders game, forget about it. And for the Bears, it's a big game for them too. Try to get to 500, see if Caleb can have back-to-back good games. So really excited for that one as well. And then the Packers and the Cowboys. In an interesting twist here, Coach is picking the Cowboys. I like it. The rest of us are all going to go with the Packers. They had that tough loss last week against the Browns. I expect them to bounce back as the Micah Parsons return game, obviously, as well. And no CeeDee Lamb as well. So that one's a tough one to go with right there. And then the final game here, we have the Jets and the Dolphins in this one. And I don't know where I'm going to go in this one. I think I'm going to go with Miami and side with Nicholas on that one. Coach and Sen both picked the Jets. Nick and I are kind of on the same page for a lot of these picks this week. I haven't seen anything I like from the Jets. That Dolphins game on Thursday, I thought there was something there. I think they're starting to figure things out a little bit. And this could be Mike McDaniel's last game too, so I think they're going to be playing for Mike McDaniels in this game. So I will go with the Dolphins in this one, and then Bengals and Broncos. Everybody is picking the Broncos. I'm going to swerve. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. Jake Browning comeback game. Bo Nix has not looked good this season, and I think it's a big game for the Bengals, and it's a big game for Bo Nix as well, but I expect the Bengals to have the comeback win. I think, too, like, again, for both these teams, like, going 1-3, you know, with the Ravens and Kansas City, if they go to 1-3, it's whatever. But for either of these teams, if they move to 1-3, forget about it. It could be the end of their season, especially with Broncos in such a tough division that they play in. I don't know. That could be really, really tough. So that'll do it for us here. Everyone, thanks so much for listening to 7K Picks. And until next time, folks, cheers and enjoy the day, people.